supposed to be quiet, predictable, safe. Passengers, controlled routes, locked cars. So when someone vanishes from a moving train without a stop, without a sound, without a trace, investigators are left with a mystery that should not be possible. This is the cold case of Elena Ward. Elena Ward was 27 years old. Friends described her as responsible, organized, and cautious, not the kind of person who disappeared without a plan. She worked a steady job, kept in close contact with her family, and rarely traveled alone at night. But on this particular weekend, Elena and her close friend had been traveling from place to place all day. When it came time to return home, her friend wanted to stay the night. Elena came home alone. She chose the overnight train, a route she had taken before without incident. Her friend watched her board the train shortly before midnight. That would be the last time anyone would ever see Elena in person. At 12:10 a.m., Elena sent a text message. It was short, casual, but unsettling in hindsight. "Almost home. This train feels creepy tonight." Her friend replied minutes later. "See you tomorrow. Be careful." Then, there was no response. Investigators would later confirm that this message was the last confirmed communication Elena ever sent. The train departed on schedule. Security cameras captured Elena stepping into her car, placing her bag beside the seat, and settling in quietly. She looked tired but calm. No visible distress. No interaction that raised concern. Other passengers later recalled seeing her scroll on her phone, occasionally glancing down the aisle. Nothing seemed wrong. The train continued through long stretches of darkness, rural areas where there were no platforms, no stations, and no stops scheduled for hours. And yet, somewhere along that route, Elena disappeared. By morning, the train reached its destination. When conductors began routine checks, they noticed something odd. Elena's seat was empty. At first, it didn't raise alarms. Passengers often moved between cars or used restrooms. But then they noticed her belongings. Her bag was still next to the seat where she sat. Her jacket was folded neatly next to it. Her phone resting on the tray table, the screen still on. Her ticket had never been scanned again. Elena Ward was no longer there. Investigators faced an immediate problem. The train had not stopped. No emergency brake had been pulled. No alarms had been triggered. Doors between cars were locked and monitored. Windows were sealed and designed not to open while moving. There were no reports of screams, no sounds of a struggle, no witnesses who saw Elena exit the train. And yet, she was no longer on board. As investigators interviewed passengers, strange inconsistencies emerged. One passenger claimed they heard footsteps pacing the aisle around 1 a.m. Another said they briefly saw a door open but couldn't remember which one. Someone else recalled a shadow passing by, but assumed it was a conductor. None of the timelines matched. None of the details lined up. And none of the witnesses could say they saw Elena after she took her seat. Authorities searched the tracks along the route. There were no signs of a fall, no personal items, no disturbance in the gravel, no body. Search dogs lost her scent completely. It was as if Elena Ward had vanished into thin air. Investigators considered every possibility. An accident? No evidence suggested she fell and her belongings were still on board. Foul play? No signs of a struggle. No suspects. Not a witness. A planned disappearance? Elena had left everything behind. Her phone, bag, money. She had big plans for her future. Nothing fit. She wouldn't just leave. Every explanation raised more questions than answers. Months passed, then years. Elena Ward was officially listed as a missing person. The train continued running the same route, same schedule, same cars. Passengers, unknowingly, sat in the same seat Elena once occupied, unaware of what had happened there, until investigators made one final, disturbing discovery. The footage was repeatedly reviewed by investigators. All the passengers were monitored. Every action, every angle of the camera. And that's when they noticed something no one had seen before. Elena Ward appears on camera boarding the train. She appears taking her seat. She appears once more, checking her phone. But she never appears again, leaving her seat. So how does someone vanish from a locked, moving train without stopping it? How does a person disappear while leaving everything behind? And why was her final message a warning? No one noticed until it was too late. To this day, the cold case of Elena Ward remains unsolved, and somewhere along that midnight route, the train keeps moving.